Happy New Year, fans. This is Freeform Radio on the Freeform Network. You can follow us on Facebook at Freeform Network, on X at FFR Podcast. Remember to send your questions and suggestions to ffrquestions@gmail.com. Again, Freeform Radio is back on live as we record. We got Danny.
Yes, sir, man. The last recording, I think I was saying I was in shorts this week. A little different, man. I got some snow outside.
Yeah, those Midwest winters in January are the worst. So we're here dealing with them. And we got Noel.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Thank you for joining us. Just trying to stay warm over here today.
Great. The gang's all here. It's a new year in the same old FFR gang here. But let's get this rolling. Danny, I see you've been playing some games. I'm guessing, I don't know, this sounds like an older game unless it got remastered. It says you beat Spiderman 2. There's been so many Spider-Man games since I've been playing. I don't know. Is this new, old, or remastered version? What's going on?
Yeah, this is Spider-Man 2. It's one of the first Spider-Man games that was exclusively for PlayStation 5. Most other games, the last 2 or 3 from Insomniac have been released on PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. This is the one that's PlayStation 5 exclusive. And yeah, it just came out a few years ago. I want to say like October 2023 rings in my head. But yeah, this is fairly new, just a couple years
finished? Old. I know in the past some games weren't done and people bitched about it, especially Spider-Man games.
What do you mean finished? Like the story's finished?
Like there was an actual ending that they I remember one of the publishers or the makers were like, we're going to release a patch to make sure the game and like there was no real ending.
Well, I guess most story-driven games nowadays have like an ending, but then there's like a scene that kind of hints to what's going to be next, if that's what you mean. So yeah, I presume the story is going to continue. And from some of the Insomniac leaks, there was a leak they had about a year ago where somebody hacked like their emails, and there's allegedly a Venom game coming along with Spider-Man 3. So yeah, there's more Spider-Man to come in the future. But yeah, this one, man, it was pretty good, man. I really enjoyed it. I picked it up during Black Friday just recently this year and decided to start playing it, and I really enjoyed it. Me and Junior first started playing it. We each had our own saves. Then Junior got kind of busy with his own stuff and he stopped playing it. But yeah, I ended up finishing it, got the platinum on the game, picked up all the collectibles and did everything in the game that there was to do. The only thing that's left to do is the New Game Plus, something that they released afterwards so that you can play the game again, but with all your equipment and have to go play through the whole storyline again. But I really enjoyed it. I was looking up a few stats just to see how much it sold and see if people liked it. Overall, Metacritic is 90, OpenCritic 97%. Sold 2.5 million within the first 24 hours, and the last recorded numbers was it's almost a year ago now, April 2024. It had 11 units sold overall. So decent seller, sold pretty good. They most definitely got their money back. But who knows nowadays with Marvel games, especially licensed games, you have to pay the licensee some money. So I'm assuming they got back their money and now they're in the profit portion of it. But I really enjoyed it. Good game. It had usually it's just Spider-Man, or at least the Spider-Man game is just Spider-Man. There was a Miles Morales game where you would play as Miles Morales, but this game you actually got to play as both. Both were in the game, and you kind of alternated back and forth. The Mary J. Watson missions that they had from the first Spider-Man, I didn't really enjoy them, and I was hoping they would cut them out, but no, she's back. But at least she's got a weapon now, and you can kind of shoot and do some things. And then a little snippet of maybe what's to come. There was a little portion with Venom where you got to play him for a level. And that I didn't enjoy it as much. I actually didn't enjoy the way it controlled a lot. But it was definitely very cool storyline, diverse amount of characters in it. I think you played this, right, Noel? I think I remember you saying that you beat it.
Yeah, I beat this probably like close to around the time it came out. Um, yeah, it was a super fun game. Definitely enjoyed it.
Yeah, and I don't know about you. I think your TV is a little better, but man, it looked awesome. The PlayStation 5, all the graphics look really nice.
I don't think I had it when I think I played it before I got this TV. I want to say it. I might have beaten it right around the time it came out, and then I think later on that year I bought this TV.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, but definitely a looker. Very nice, cool game. Um, I'm not sure if you would like it, Andy. I think you're more of a shooter, but I can't even remember when was the last time you even turned on a PlayStation 5.
Not turned on a PlayStation 4 recently to watch a Blu-ray movie.
Yeah, which was another conversation me and you had at work. I don't know how you're using your PlayStation 4 for watching DVDs. Your PlayStation 5 plays DVDs and better, it'll upscale it to 4K or as close as it can get. So, yeah, man.
I'm still working on my setup, man.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I know that you had mentioned you picked up a TV and you're hoping to get something set up and put together.
Remember, I got a toddler. They fuck up a lot of things.
That's what the good right hand is for, man. Control them, rein them in, man. But yeah,
Uh-huh.
Spider-Man 2 definitely a must play for anybody who has a PlayStation 5 out there. So go out there and enjoy that one. Something else that I watched Twisters. This is the sequel to the original movie that came out with man, I forget their names. That one real famous guy actor. He passed
Paxton.
away. Yeah, Paxton. He passed away a few years ago. But yeah, it's a sequel to that. Um, the movie was okay. I know Alana enjoyed it a lot more because it was super powered women taking over the world, kind of helping save the world from us dumb males that just create tornadoes.
These guys don't know what they're doing. They're useless,
Right.
especially if
Uh,
they're white. Yeah.
I mean, I'm kind of overplaying it, but it was a little bit of that. It was a little bit of this really super smart woman that kind of takes over, but it was a good movie. I'm kind of making fun of it, but it wasn't all that. It wasn't a big like Me Too kind of thing or any kind of new agenda. It was a good movie. Storm chasing, better CG, the tornadoes. Really cool, man. Not sure if you guys watched it. It doesn't look like it did a terrible amount of money. I was just looking at Wikipedia. The budget was 155 million, and it came in with 371. So, okay, but I know movies like to make like three times their budget nowadays to be considered successful. So I know Noel, you're a big movie watcher. Did you even watch this part two? Did you like part one at all?
I really like part one. I grew up watching that one. Helen Hunt and Bob Paxton or Bill. Was
Bill.
it Bill or Bob?
Bill.
Yeah,
Yeah, Bill.
Bill Paxton. Um, I liked the first one a lot, but the second one I watched part of it, and I kind of got bored like halfway through, so I stopped watching it. I haven't finished it since, unfortunately. Um, you're right on some parts. Like I agree with pretty much your whole take on it. Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty good. Andy, did you get a chance to see this?
No, I mean I love the original one. My mom, and my sisters, we would watch. We had it on tape. We would watch it regularly. And why they never made a sequel earlier, I'll never know. But when I heard they made a sequel, like now I'm like, yeah, they're just gonna fuck it up. So I don't even want to watch it. It's like an unnecessary sequel. And like the real quick this weekend, I was looking at like movies. Uh, I was thinking about this movie, Chinatown with Jack Nicholson, and then in the night that came out in like late 70s. Then I read that he made a sequel to that movie, which is like that's considered one of the top American movies ever made, and it's called Two Jakes. And people were shitting on it, like, why would you make a sequel to this movie? Like, that was unnecessary. And sometimes I feel lately, especially now with all the licensing and stuff, they just make sequels. It's I don't want to call it a cash grab, but because they don't know what else to do, and I think Twisters falls into that category of like we didn't need to see this, but I know it was like some early buzz, but then nothing really came of it. It just like went away.
Yeah, I think you're right in that because there is a lot of sequels and movies like that. But this one, I mean, from all three of us, we really enjoyed the first one. And I know um, I was kind of saying like this is a superwoman taking over the world, but Helen Hunt was also a strong character. And I think this just kind of follows the same format, basically. It has a little bit of a country little vibe to it, so that was pretty cool. So I dug it. I don't think it's the worst movie. I don't think it's one of the greatest, but it's a definitely must watch if you're Twisters fans for sure. The last thing I wanted to bring up, guys, is I watched this movie and I'd seen it before, but I rewatched it while I was looking for something to watch yesterday. Snake Eyes from 1998. And I'm not talking about the G.I. Joe one, Andy. I know that's got you interested, but no, I'm talking
But
about.
instantly I thought like, oh, a G.I. Joe movie, Snake Eyes.
Yeah, no. This one is Nicolas Cage. It's kind of a thriller movie, kind of like Unusual Suspects kind of vibe to it, where you kind of see the event happen, and then from that event, you go through these different avenues to figure out who done it. You know, what's the story behind it? Find out the secrets behind this whole story. So it was definitely something unique that I don't think a lot of movies do it as much. I'm failing to remember this last one that I kind of recall. I also watched that kind of follows this format, like the Who Done It movies.
Is this the one? If I remember, it's a '90s movie. It's regarding they're like at a boxing thing in Vegas.
Yeah. It came out in
Ooh.
1999,
Yeah,
98.
I remember. I watched it a couple of times. It was a long time ago, though.
Yeah, it's got the a boxing match in the background,
Yeah.
along with some kind of like senator or some kind of big government agent guy that's also watching the
Is
event.
Samuel L. Jackson in that one or no? Or maybe I'm mixing it up with something else.
No, Samuel Jackson's not in this one,
Okay.
but yeah, man, it was pretty good. I liked it. Kind of they do a lot of one take scenes where the camera just follows along
Hmm.
from one place to another. So that's kind of unique. I mean, you could kind of see the cuts if you really pay attention where it's going around a corner and you could kind of see like a cut where they probably blended into scenes. But it does try to follow this camera just walking through scenes and whatnot. And yeah, it didn't make a lot of good money, so not a lot of people liked it. 73 million budget, 103 take. But I kind of dug it. I thought it was a good movie back when I first saw it. Doesn't have the greatest Rotten Tomatoes, um, but I kind of dug it. Noel, did you watch this one?
No, but you've got me intrigued. I see Brian De Palma directed it.
Hmm.
He's a very good director. I mean, he's the one that did Scarface. He's done Untouchables. He's done a bunch of stuff. So I'm gonna probably put this on the list to watch.
Yeah, you should definitely watch it. It's definitely a cool must see. Unfortunately, like even like halfway through the movie, you already know who done it, and now it's the are they going to get away with it kind of thing. So the movie, the second half, it's more like, all right, now you know the full story. How are they going to get away with this, or are they going to get away with this? So
Yeah.
it's pretty cool.
Those '90 movies with Nick Cage. I mean, now he does like a lot of B movies or straight to streaming or DVD back in the day. But he was in a ton of features. There's another movie I remember with Snake Eyes and like I think it was like 8 millimeter, where he's like this private eye or cop looking for like snuff films. And that was pretty decent. And it had Nick Cage because he did all sorts of movies back in the day. But yeah, that's around that movie, that time where he was just cranking them out after like Face Off with Travolta and all that. Yeah, he got kind of popular. Like he was already popular because of leaving Las Vegas, but then he started doing all that action shit like Con Air, and he was all over the place, and he made a ton of movies in the late '90s, early 2000s, and I kind of remember Snake Eyes, and I remember the other one that sticks out in my head right away was 8 millimeter. I think you guys might like it. Check it out.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen that one, but definitely Face Off. That's another really good John Travolta, Nicolas Cage movie. But yeah, Snake Eyes, definitely a must watch, Noel. I think you'll enjoy it. The, who done it, uh, unusual suspects kind of vibe where you're trying to figure out how did this scene transpire. So pretty cool to check out. But I think that's enough of me, guys. Let's jump over to you, Noel. It looks like you finished from season three. I think I remember you talking about this. Why don't you fill us in on how season three wrapped up?
Yeah, so this show is pretty wild, man. It's kind of like a horror sci-fi, kind of similar to Lost with a more horrifying twist to it. And not to kind of go too deep into like the backstory, just staying on topic with season three because I have talked about this one before, so maybe you guys will remember a little bit of it. But these people are stuck in this like really uninhabitable place. It's like a town that's surrounded by like forests and they can't find a way out. They're kind of like stuck and lost in this place. And throughout the seasons, it uncovers more and more of why they're there, what started it all, and it connects some characters to the past of this location. And so in season two, not to give spoilers, but I mean, if you guys haven't watched it at this point, I doubt you ever will, unfortunately. But um, at the end of season two, one of the people are able to escape from this hellhole, whatever you want to call it, like this, limbo or Bermuda Triangle of sorts. And she escapes, and in the end of season two, start of season three, it kind of goes into like what she was doing. She was trying to like find out what's going on and where she was in terms of relation to the world, like because it's never really explained like exactly where they are. Otherwise, they can call for help and stuff like that. So she was trying to like find the location, and she ends up finding some of the family members of the original people that were there. And it kind of all ties in together. You kind of get more reveal of the characters and where it came from and all that. And some of the demons and stuff that reside there, you get a little bit more information about where they came from, why they exist. And the thing is with this show is you answer two questions, you get three more. So it's like it's one of these shows that I think in the next season, it's the final season, I believe. They're gonna finally wrap everything up and like tie it all together. But right now there's like loose ends that I'm trying to figure out, and I still have questions. So it's kind of hard for me to really go into detail, especially without spoiling it. But now we're starting to get time travel in the mix. So they kind of had that going with Lost, and they're kind of doing that again with this show, and they're doing it in a unique way.
I
So
heard shows when they
um,
do the time travel stuff, man.
it can, but it kind of fits with the lore of this place. Um, to kind of give you some details, I guess there's certain areas within this like Bermuda Triangle of like forest area. There's certain areas that can connect other far-reaching areas, kind of like a portal, but it's not a portal per se. You walk through a tree, and either the tree will take you to outside this place, or it'll take you to somewhere where you need to be, that the island or whatever this area knows that you need to be there, or it could just totally throw you for a loop and trap you in some kind of like well, or trap you in the middle of a wall and you just die there. So it's kind of like a risk to try to use this mechanism of transportation around this place. But essentially they're starting to explore that more, and some people get messed up, some people get to places where they need to be to uncover more of the story. It's actually really cool, man. And unfortunately, can't really go into too much detail that you guys would be able to get. But hopefully, someday you'll watch it. If not, for those that have watched it or are thinking about it, definitely do. Season four, I believe, has been confirmed. So I'm excited to see what comes next. But that's pretty much it for my TV watch and stuff, man. I haven't really been watching too much TV. I've been trying to make use of the PS5 Pro. So I've been playing a bunch of games lately. and that's more or less what I really want to catch you guys up on. Most recently, I just beat God of War Ragnarok Valhalla's the DLC, and Daniel, you played God of War, right? Ragnarok.
Yeah, yeah, I beat the first one and then this second one along with the DLC, like you mentioned. So much that Noel, or I mean, Junior's interested in playing the first one because he's been hearing a lot of good stuff about the Ragnarok. What were your thoughts on it? I really liked it.
Oh man, I liked it a lot. I was really pleasantly surprised that Valhalla was like the way it was. The DLCs that I've played in the past and other games, it'll be like a challenge mode or it'll be like a gauntlet of endless fights, and it's just like how many points can you get kind of thing. And I get bored with stuff like that because there's no story to it. It's just like, well, you turn the game off when you want to turn it off. You don't turn it off because you beat the mission. You don't turn it off because you beat the game. You just, "Oh, I'm bored, all right, turn it off." And some of those kinds of games, if GTA had no story at all, I probably wouldn't play GTA because although you could do all sorts of stuff and cause havoc and go on, massive crime sprees and stuff, it just gets boring at the end of the day if there's no story to tie it all together. And with Valhalla, I thought it was gonna be like that, like just an endless whatever. And then it turns out it's a combination of a gauntlet with a story, and you're uncovering more elements of Kratos, his background, how he fits into this new world, the future of him being in this new world, and getting along with the characters that are within it. And so that was cool. Like you get more of exploration of his past and his potential future in this new saga, I guess you want to call it, trilogy they're gonna do. I already heard there's talks about another one. So it just got me more excited to see more of this Kratos, not to mention with the PS5 Pro, I hadn't played Valhalla. This is the first playthrough I've had of it, and now I'm playing on the Pro, and it runs smoother, looks better. It's got the patch going on it, and man, it's so freaking cool. I really enjoyed it. It was like 8 hours, I think, something like that, or 5 to 8 hours. I can't remember exactly, but definitely worth it. It has cutscenes and stuff, which expand in the story. Very, very cool. Um, Andy, you haven't played any of these God of Wars, right? Or did you even play the
I think
OG
the
ones?
the last one I played, uh, the one after the PSP. I remember that
Okay,
one challenge, and then the one with the sun, was that on the PS4 or the PS3?
with the son.
Wasn't he like
Yeah,
hanging out with a
that's
kid?
that's a
Oh,
2018
with
one.
with his son. Okay, I thought you meant the son, like the star. Like,
No, no,
okay,
no.
his son. Yeah,
That was like
yeah,
maybe
that
the
was
last
the.
one I was interested in playing, and but I don't remember what console it was. I think it was PS4 then, right? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That one's good, man. That's what started off. That's like the prequel to this one,
Right.
Ragnarok, and it sets it up. So yeah, I
Do
mean,
you,
I recommend it, dude.
real quick, do you know how is there a reason, like I know when EA was at their top peak, they would release, the one that comes to my head is Dead Space and Dante's Inferno, and they released animated movies with that. And the Dante's Inferno movie was pretty good. The Dead Space was it. But do you think we'll ever get anything like an animated movie or CGI movie with God of War character Kratos or whatever? Because I feel like he's something he should deserve. He should have another platform besides the gaming. Because you guys keep replaying the games, even the remaster ones. I remember you guys talking about in the past. But I think it's a
Yeah.
story that should be developed.
Well, it would be awesome in terms of like even a live action movie you could definitely do. I mean, we've seen other fantasy movies come into play with like all sorts of elemental stuff. I mean, Marvel itself is, a huge success, so 100% would love to see a live action or even animated version of God of War. Um,
There
and I
is
think
actually
there's
a yeah, there is a God of War live action in development right now. I forget if it's Hulu or Prime,
Oh
Amazon, but
man.
yeah, there is a live action in the works. But yeah, man, it's I think it'll be totally cool to revisit it because, like you mentioned, Noel, the Valhalla DLC. it got me itching for the original storyline, the Greek portion, because you could kind of see little backgrounds of that Greek storyline in Valhalla, even though this is the Norse story, the God of War and the God of War Ragnarok. But it was cool to see that original stuff. That I was just like, man, it'd be cool to play that again.
I heard rumors that they might remaster the OG, like the original trilogy, the Greek one.
Right? No, there are
Uh,
rumors about that. So hopefully,
For
that
PlayStation
would be
5,
cool.
didn't they remaster it already for the 3?
No, so one and two, I believe they remastered on PS what three, maybe something like
Yeah,
that.
and Danny, you gave me the disc.
but it's just like it's like an upgrade to like 1080p
Yeah, the like
from
HD remaster.
right.
Yeah, from the PS2 version or whatever.
But they haven't remade it. It was just like an upres version.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, and God of War 3 they remastered on PS4. That was good too. I played that one. I beat that one. That was the conclusion to the Greek trilogy. But yeah, no. To answer your question, Andy, it would be awesome to see. And Daniel pretty much said like they're already working on it. So we'll have to just keep tabs on that and see what goes on. But yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the last video game movies or anything shows, I mean, hasn't necessarily been the best, but I'll give my hopes up because the Kratos, that character he's pretty good, and I want to see that character get developed.
100%. And there's actually another game I've been playing too that it would be they've already made an animated version of it. Devil May Cry. Have you ever
Mhm.
played that one, Andy? Devil May Cry series?
No, but I know what you're talking about in the animated feature.
Yeah, so they made a comic, they made an animated movie or series of it, and obviously they have five games and actually six total in the series. Um, like way back, I played the original trilogy on PS2 and I think even PS3 with the backwards compatibility. And then Devil May Cry 4, I'd never played it, but I didn't want to replay the one, two, and three, so I just kind of watched the video to get the backstory, and I dove right into DMC4, and man, it was fun. It was a really cool game. You actually play as a new character called Nero, as well as Dante, but it starts you off with this new character named Nero, who's actually Dante's nephew. His twin brother somehow had a son, and I think in the animated stuff it might explain, or maybe in the books or comics it might explain where he came from. I don't really know the backstory. I didn't watch all that stuff in depth. I just kind of got like a real quick summary, and so that's as much as I know is that it's his son, Dante's brother's son, and his name is Nero. He's got this like devil hand that he's got like a devil bringer, but it's like in his hand. So he's got these like cool abilities that like he's got like a whip, kind of like Indiana Jones, that he can whip and grab and like pull himself towards an enemy, and it just sets up your combos and stuff. So it's really cool. It's like they made him kind of look like Dante though, which I think a lot of people criticized. I was like reading reviews on it. But in this newest one, DMC5, they changed his look and he looks like his own character now. He looks cool. But Daniel, did you play Devil May Cry 4?
No, I don't think so. I think the last one that I played was one, two, and three, and I tried to get into five, but it just didn't grab me. I usually like these games, so I'm kind of surprised five didn't get me. But yeah, usually Devil May Cries are pretty cool to play.
Yeah, no, and 4 is more traditional, like 1, 2, and 3. So if you like 1, 2, and 3, I think you'll like 4. 5 definitely it like pivoted. They kind of try to modernize it, and so I beat Devil May Cry 4 just yesterday, and I'm playing Devil May Cry 5 today, and so far I'm liking it, but I could see why some people wouldn't. I could see maybe they love the originals, and this is like very different now. It's still obviously a hack and slash. You put combos, you use your guns, you got the devil triggers. It's still the same essentially, but it's like presented much differently. The graphics are phenomenal, man. And with this PS5 Pro and the VRR on the 120 hertz TV that I got, it it like smooths out the frame rate. I'm getting like 80 FPS stable, and it looks like 4K, and it's HDR. It's all that. It's got the ray tracing. So I'm like really impressed with the Pro, how it's able to like really utilize its, extra performance ability on this new Devil May Cry. It's running buttery smooth and looks so good. And the story is cool. I'm still at the start of it, so Dante needs help, and I'm trying to save him, and I'm playing as Nero again. And there's this new character named V, who's unique. It's different. I could see why some people might not like playing this character. You're not as in control as you are with like Dante or Nero. You kind of use these like what is it called? Familiars they call it. So you summon these things and it fights for you. But I just started it, so I'll kind of catch you guys up next time on how it goes, and yeah, we'll go from there. That's pretty much it for wrapping up my week, man. I've been playing a lot of games, but just trying to keep my mind off all the craziness in this world, bro. And there's always something new for Andy to tell us about what crazy stuff's going on. So let's shift it over to Andy, man. I heard about these LA fires, man. What do you fill us in on what you've heard?
Well, it's a new year for us, and it's like the same shit. It's just another catastrophe for America. It's like we can't get out of this rut, and we the end of the last year, not like it feels like from the election on, it's just been nothing but craziness, different type of flus, and then this week or last week, the fires, man, like in California and LA County and all that. Los Angeles has just been nuts, and there's all these conspiracy theories like always. And yeah, man, my prayers go out to those because people are losing homes. It's spreading. I think there's 5 fires now. Um, and then you hear all this stuff on X about they running out of water. The fire hydrants don't have they connected. There's no water. Nothing comes out. And then it looks like the mayor was traveling at the time. I don't know if you saw that video. They caught her in an airport in, I think, in England. The Sky News was trying to ask her questions. She didn't say one damn word. And then everybody was complaining about the fire department. The DEI hires they were saying. And this weekend, I think Thursday, the fire chief came out and she was like, when there's no money, how can you expect us to fight fires? And it's a sad state of affairs. I don't want to get into the political thing, but you figure for California how big it is in a big city like LA, big county, that it's in, and like they would be more prepared. I know there was these big fires, I think when Trump was president and him and the governor were button heads, and here we are, again with the same, it's a new year and it's the same thing. And I don't understand. And then like people come out saying like, oh, it's the budgeting. And then you hear stuff that the money that was a lot, they were sending water money to Ukraine, California was like what the hell is going on here? There's no real straight answer. And like you're starting to see the Palisades Park or whatever, it was a rich neighborhood. And you see stars coming out saying they lost their homes or up in fires, and it's spreading. Now you see it's like getting to like middle class, normal people. And then what happens? The looting started this week. It's just like it's never ending, and I'm just like I don't know when we're gonna catch a break. Like I don't know how much guys you know of it, or have you read it, or you just know about it, or what's your thoughts on it? Like on the fires. And people write it's climate change, but I think it's other things going on.
Yeah, to me, it's pretty sad, man. I think, like you said, there's a lot of information, maybe some misinformation. I'm not really sure, but some people are blaming it on that they're not cutting the brush in the forests, and that it's part of the maintenance that you need to do to forests to make sure that they don't catch on fire. To me, I've seen some videos of like arsonists like
Yeah.
making purposefully fires. So I don't know how much of that is fake footage or old footage, or is that stuff that's happening. It's one of the bad parts about having like X and Facebook and all this other stuff, is that you don't know how much of it is misinformation, how much of it is that it's really information, but it's because the mainstream's not publicizing it, kind of thing. So it's really difficult to tell, should you be upset? Is the government doing something bad? Is it people causing this issue? So yeah, it's really difficult to tell. But yeah, I read stuff like you said, like they're diverting some of their firemen's supplies over to Ukraine and other countries. And this is California is one of the highest taxes in the
Mm-hmm.
U.S. that they pay. And I know that a lot of these rich people, they're not going to like it. And especially with all their mandates that they have, good luck for all these people that are going to have to build their houses back once the fires are over and done with. Get ready to jump through hoops. You had an in-ground pool. Get ready to have new legislation telling you now it's got to be 3 times the wall thickness, and it's got to have all this and all that, eco-friendly pumps and whatnot. It's going to be all these hoops, because sometimes when you're legacied in and you got houses older than when these new legislations came in, you can get by having this old stuff, but now you're going to have to build it to code. So I think it's going to be a huge fiasco. And the other thing I was kind of hearing last thing, um, that a lot of these people, their insurance company canceled their fire coverage. So a lot of these people don't have fire coverage for their houses because of all the fires that would
Yeah.
happen in California.
That's the big uh nobody really talked about it, but earlier, middle of last year, I think California passed some legislation or something. I don't know the full details, but I knew a lot of insurance companies said we are not going to be able to insure cars and properties if this is in place, and we're like closing up shop and we're leaving. So only like a handful, like the big ones, stayed to try to make it work. The premiums were high, and then this whole one of the big two like canceled policies right before this or something. So yeah, that, like I said, there's a lot of just a lot of bad things. Like it always makes you wonder like what the hell is going on. Noel, thoughts on the fire at all? Or I mean,
It's terrible for sure, man. And it's nothing. It's nothing new, really, though. If you really look at it, there's trends going on, and I try not to talk too much about it because I don't want to like get the wrong attention from the wrong people. But like, we know that there's something going on here, and the conspiracy theorists will talk about it. It's like another Hawaii situation, and that's what came to mind when I saw this going on. I'm like, oh, like Hawaii. All right, it's just another version 2 now. It's
yeah,
just it's sad, man. It's terrible because all these people losing their homes and just having like not just their homes, but like everything you had within that home, your memories, your most cherished items that you have. It's Yeah, it's irreplaceable sometimes, those things.
and like you said, the like Danny said, like we're gonna dig into X and Facebook and like misinformation and community notes and fact checkers. We'll deal into that to this week's article, but a lot of it is the misinformation, and then like what, because the news, the mainstream's so late to report, or they don't want to comment on shit that's constant on Facebook and X. So they don't want to deal with it, or they don't want to confirm it. They don't want to deny it. People read all this stuff, and then what happens in there, you start seeing the conspiracy stuff, which sometimes is true and a lot of the times it's bullshit. But I mean that's what came of this with the arsonist, the arsonist theory. They're because they were pushing climate change early on, but now they're saying it might be arsonist, and now the reason why this is going on now, right? And then I think the best one I read is the uh, not to make light of it, but the P Diddy thing with his trial and like all the shit that supposedly he implicated all these stars and stuff like, and then that's why they're burning California up because they could get rid of all the evidence. I think that's the one that was just like, damn, but like it seems far fetched, but you never know, man, because there's so many evil people around, but but the reality is people lost their homes, rich and middle class, poor, people losing all their possessions and like a lot of that stuff. Where do we all feel the most comfortable? It's at home, right? And then when you don't have a home, it's hard, and then you're just like bouncing around. Uh, that's the thing where I feel bad for people because people you got families moving around. You can replace cars and shit like that, but when you lose your home, like yeah, that sucks, man. I mean, because that's yours and it's where you're the most comfortable, and not to have that, I mean, it just sucks, especially if you got kids and you're a family.
Yeah, it's terrible, man. A lot of that stuff, like you said, are richer people, so hopefully they have the money to get by until whatever government help or insurance or whatever. But yeah, either way, it's difficult because just in my house, there's some stuff that I cherish. Now, obviously, if there's a fire, there's things more important. First, get my family out with safety. But yeah, man, what other stuff do I have in this house that if I lose it, I would be like, damn, that sucks, man. I really wanted that, whatever it is.
That Hogan figure,
Yeah, like my main event or whatever,
damn, bro, that is priceless.
But
You'll never
yeah,
even get that back.
yeah, you got stuff that you're like, man, I've had this high school yearbook forever since high school or whatever, and now it's gone and you can't
Right.
replace it. So yeah, it sucks definitely.
No, man, yeah, that's what I said. Like, let us know what you guys think. Or I did talk to somebody I know, business associate, and he lives in California, and he's not affected yet, but it is spreading. He was telling me. I did talk to him yesterday. We were talking some college football, but I asked him if the fires are impacting him. He goes, not yet. We're still too far south. He's around the San Diego area, but it is. He didn't seem too concerned, but like you said, you never know. Um, and like it's just it's rough, man. And then like with the fires, it kind of pushes back everything else. Like real quick, I wanted to talk about the UAP stuff. They kind of fell in the backdrop of those news, the UFO stuff, and going back to the fires, there is video of you see like UFOs flying around like every night. Like they're not definitely not like the drones that we saw out on the East Coast, but they're flying around. And I always trying to think like maybe this is what they were looking for, because there was all this talk about what was going on in the East Coast from the coming out of the water. They were scanning stuff. They were looking for nukes, like all this crazy stuff, and like but those drones look like nothing like the videos I saw that are flying around in LA right now. Um, and they're like zooming by the fires. And have you guys heard anything about that?
I haven't heard much about that actually, but that's pretty intriguing.
Yeah. So like the whole UAP stuff from the late last year to that kind of just all came to a halt. Like it just stopped. Everybody stopped talking about it, and it is it's interesting, right? And then that was starting to spread in other parts of the country, and then just like we stopped talking about it, and like the drones stopped, so or whatever people were seeing, and then you go to these fires, and they are UFOs flying around, and they've been caught up through the helicopters and like these other cameras, not like cell phone cameras, like these are like news media stuff, and people slow it down, and you see, I think I seen 3 different videos, and they were pretty intriguing, and they look nothing like what we were seeing in California, or I'm sorry, in the East Coast, like New Jersey. So there's that, and like we'll see what happens. Hopefully, Trump's gonna, next week, or Trump's gonna get in, and we'll see what happens. Him and Newsom could come up with a plan, because Biden already pledged that he's gonna give them all this money. We'll see what happens, man. Hopefully they can at least work this shit out, because there's still people in Hawaii that are struggling. There's people in the Carolinas still struggling after those storms or hurricanes, whatever they classify them as. And America's in pretty rough shape, and like with these catastrophes that seem to happen like all the time. So hopefully we can pull out of it and we get better.
For sure, man.
But we kind of delved into, like Danny, about misinformation, talking about that. But that is what our article is, and we're gonna jump into our article of the week. So this week, Mark Zuckerberg came out of his Hawaiian cave or whatever, his compound. Now he's like a laid-back hippie guy with his gold chain that he rocked on Joe Rogan. And what came out of that was, did you guys hear that he was on Joe Rogan at all?
Yeah, I heard about that.
Right, he's like, hey man, he's like a hipster now with his Birkenstocks or whatever the fuck. Came out and said that he's going with Elon and getting rid of third-party fact checkers and all this and all that, and he's going to go to community notes like X. And he did confirm that on the episode of Joe Rogan Experience released Friday, painted a picture of the Biden administration officials berating Facebook staff during requests to remove certain content from social media platform. What the NBC News, this is an NBC News article, doesn't say what it really is. It's about COVID, right? Like everybody, the big scary COVID during the pandemic. That's where they're asking to remove the content. Basically, these people from the Biden administration would call up our team and like scream at them and curse. Zuckerberg told the podcast host. It's just got to the point where we were like, no, we're not gonna take things down that are true. That's ridiculous. And then they did reach out to the White House. They didn't respond. And he goes, it's not the first time that Facebook said administration officials pressured the company to remove posts. To Jim Jordan, Republican chair of the Judiciary Committee, the White House repeatedly pressured Facebook to remove certain COVID content, including humor and satire. He also said the White House responded at the time in a statement saying, we were confronted with a deadly pandemic, and this administration encouraged responsible actions to protect the public health and safety. Our position has been clear and consistent. We believe in tech companies and other private actors should take into account the effects of their actions on the American people. So, this was always like, why was this going on? And Zuckerberg confirmed it multiple times, but now it feels like it's getting more traction. What are you guys' thoughts on this?
Yeah, I think everybody's known that, certain government agencies, they always try to pressure social media to remove stuff. Some of it I kind of agree with. I mean, we do have to have some kind of control. We can't just be out of control and just have information out there. Like I saw something yesterday on my X that showed the Hollywood sign on fire. And I'm like, holy shit, man, it hit the Hollywood sign already? So then I Googled it. I'm like, yeah, Hollywood sign on fire. And then right away it came up, no, this is something fake. Somebody, AI created this artwork or whatever. So I'm like, so that kind of sucks. They posted it as if it was genuine, like, hey, the fire's already reached LA or, Hollywood sign. So stuff like that, it's like, I get people want to get clicks, want to get people riled up, but I'm not in this bandwagon with all these people that like chaos and like to see all this. I don't understand it. To me, I don't get my jollies off of watching people fall down and videos like that, people getting punched. I don't get happy with stuff like that. To me, that's all it's shitty, man. To me, I don't like it. So to me, misinformation, I think people get their jollies off of that. They get their jollies off of getting people worked up. And I think those are really shitty people that are into stuff like that.
You know, I agree to an extent. I don't like it, but at the same time, I accept that it's part of the internet. It's part of freedom of speech,
Right.
and it's got to be protected, man. Because if we start saying, "Well, we can allow this and now not allow that," then we're playing judge, jury, and executioner on these like topics, you know. And sometimes it could be like, okay, if we allow that, then pretty soon whoever's making these decisions to on what to allow, what not to allow, they can get power hungry and start to skew things in a biased way where it's not filtering out hateful stuff, it's filtering out anything that disagrees with them, right, even if it's correct and factual. So it's a slippery slope, and that's why I think the best we could do is make a disclaimer like fact check, like every single thing you see on the internet, fact check it. Don't just take it at face value, no matter what it is. It could be any article, especially CNN has been proven to be lying multiple times. Joe Rogan almost, I think, was going to get in a lawsuit with them over some claims they made, saying that he had endorsed a Kamala or something like that. And it was like completely false. It was proven false almost immediately. And because of that, Joe was like, what the hell? Like they're blatantly being telling lies, right? So if they can get away with it and not face any kind of penalties because of free speech and all this other stuff, then I guess, yeah, you have to let anybody, you know?
Well,
Yeah.
that's the thing. That's why people don't trust the mainstream media no more because of stuff like that. And citizen journalists popped up on Facebook and X, and it started a big trend. But yes, people started hijacking it and people started lying for clicks. But I think what X's latest thing with the community notes, where people post on their, even if you comment or share it or retweet it, later on it'll give you an alert. Oh, whatever you shared turned out to be BS, and hear what they're saying, and you can see the comments of what they shared or what disproved it or proved whatever it was that you shared or liked or commented.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. I guess now in hindsight, I'm kind of thinking, let's not pull it back because we do need freedom of speech. It just kind of sucks that there's not a place that you can go for actual news. Because, like you
Yeah.
said, Andy, you can't even go to the mainstream media because you don't know if it's being suppressed and they're not saying the truth. So you go to these alternative sites, X, Facebook, and whatnot, to go see what is actually happening and what the maybe mainstream is suppressing. And half of that is BS. So you don't know
Yeah,
what to believe.
exactly. So in the past they were right, and then it turned into, well, now they're more wrong than right, right? And it's usually an influencer or some like company, or it might be even a foreign country now, right? We know that there's stuff that they post to be divisive, and that's the thing. Even now, more than ever, it, it's hard. And like you said, and like I like how you say, like, oh, I Google it and like I search it, but that means you trust. I don't know what website or what app you're using to confirm that.
Yeah, I guess Gemini or whatever they're using.
Or you ask AI that. I think that's even worse.
Why went out to Google and right away Google's main thing is the Gemini, like, oh, this is what the AI found from the top 5 sites or whatever.
Right. And then like that one of them is like, oh, CNN, and like Noel hates CNN. I don't like CNN. And the other one's like Fox News, and everybody, just about anybody who's not conservative or Republican, they hate Fox News, and I don't like MSNBC. ABC, and I kind of like NBC. They've been sued a couple. They've lied and they've been sued, and so has CBS. So like, what the fuck do you trust? The newspapers? But the newspapers ain't the newspapers that me, you, and Noel grew up. There's something completely different, relying on clicks. They're better for more like local stuff than national stuff, and it's just a fucking mess. And like, you just gotta. Sometimes you just you gotta go with what you see, and until that gets disproven.
Yeah, it's really disheartening. So, to kind of back to the article, I I agree now that Noel brought that up. We shouldn't have the government reach over and kind of snap it out or delete it, but maybe there should be some kind of disclaimer. But even then, it's in the hands of the software users to label it as disclaimed, like, hey, this is false, fake news, but in actuality, it may be true. So I don't know if there's a right way to fix this thing so that people can go on social media, get the news, or people can watch and sit down and watch the morning news and get actual facts.
A lot of it too, as you go down to the article, I think with the White House has had a lot of issues with is satires and memes. The big one is like Zuckerberg. They wanted him, or they wanted Facebook to take down a Leonardo DiCaprio meme pointing about some lawsuit for COVID, and they're like, "You must take down that. You got to take that down." Like they really got hung up on memes, which you gotta admit, it's too. Some memes are funny as hell, and some are just like whatever. But I think memes. I think unfortunately, a lot of people get their news or they see what's going on through memes, and it's just to me, they're more scared of that than I think actual news reports or whatever, you know.
Yeah, to me, I agree with you. I think a lot of people are in love with these memes. To me, I think they're mean-hearted. They're not meant to do any good to society. So to me, I don't like them. I wish we would stop using them. I wish people would stop, making fun of other people, terrible situations, and kind of using it to kind of make a quick joke. I agree with you, Andy. Sometimes it's funny in
But I
the
send memes all the time, Dan.
it's funny in the top level, but when you dig into it, there's somebody that's dealing with something that created that meme. There's somebody that's dealing with a personal situation that's creating that meme. And so it's like at the end of the day, we're laughing at this poor person that's dealing with a situation. And it's unfortunate because, I don't want to get all religious, but Jesus doesn't want us to do stuff like that. Jesus doesn't want us to make fun of you, Andy. If you trip on your way to work and somebody recorded it, we don't want to see that on YouTube so we could all make fun of it.
That is funny. People falling down is funny.
To me, Jesus doesn't want that. Jesus wants you to have compassion for that person and go walk over and be like, hey, Andy, are you all right? And not record it so we can make fun of it later. So I know this isn't a religious conversation, but to me, it's just not right. And I think a lot of these memes are mean-hearted that way, and it's just not. It's not a society that I care for.
I agree, Dan, but you're the meanest guy I know, man.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I'm not perfect by any means. I'm definitely a sinner, just like the rest of us. But I definitely don't try to contribute to stuff like that. I try to be a good person. I try not to.
You are.
Spread,
Yeah, I mean,
I try not to spread.
Okay to laugh.
No,
I hear you.
And it's okay to have comedies. I mean, because when we watched a comedy movie the other day, and there was funny stuff going on, but it wasn't at the expense of somebody else. They were acting and they were trying to be funny, and where these are real videos of people's actual lives being made fun of, and that's where I think is the line.
I think humor is very subjective, and I respect your opinion on that too. I agree. There's a lot of things that I don't find funny when they exploit people with like disabilities or something like that, and they can't help it. That's how they are, or whatever. Whatever the situation is that they're making fun of, some things cannot be helped. It's just how it is. But at the same time, I've also seen how comedians will say, funny's got to be funny. It's got to just be whatever it's going to be. All sorts of people laugh at all sorts of different things, and you can't just say this can be funny and that can't be funny, because there's probably somebody out there that disagrees, and it's just how it is. You could say, Jerry Seinfeld's funny to you, but somebody else wants to watch Joe Rogan, or somebody else wants to watch Bill Burr. And they all make fun of stuff, and sometimes at certain people's expenses. Dave Chappelle, throws jabs at people, and that person that they're talking about might be hurt. But that's, just the way it goes. It goes around to everybody, which is why, like, when the trans community were in an uproar with a lot of Dave Chappelle's stand-up comedy. Yeah, I mean, they don't like it, and that's true. They're going through something that nobody else understands, and they're being made fun of, and that's not right, and all that. But it could be still be funny, right? And it might come around as, somebody else. It could go to anybody, any other group of people. It could go to bald people, and I'm a bald guy, so I don't like that they'll make fun of bald people. But maybe at a certain point, I laugh at it. I'm just like, yeah, I mean, I can't change it. I'm bald, and yeah, it's funny. They're making some good jokes there. So sometimes we do have to laugh at ourselves, but I also agree that there's a line where it becomes almost like dirty, like ugly and disgusting, and it's manipulative, and it's wrong. So there is a line, and I think everybody has that line, and it's just different, and we have to respect that. And I respect your line. I have a similar line, but I also respect that not everybody sees it that way.
No, I think that's 100% true. There is differences. People are going to believe different, and I'm not saying that I'm correct and everybody should be like Daniel. But yeah, for sure, there's different humor for different people. For sure. Any last things, Andy?
Yeah, real quick, just before going back to the article in like social media, we all know how much shit is on there, but I like X's community notes, and I hope Facebook's community notes uh they're gonna switch to that, which I think is a good start, and then we could go from there. But I think Zuckerberg is worried about other stuff. That's why he's doing this with Trump coming in, and then he grew out his hair and he's wearing T-shirts again. He's not in a suit. He got his gold chain. He's just trying to be like, hey man, I'm one of you guys, and I'm like, I'm about freedom, bro, and like all the anonymous people back, information it needs to get out, like no matter what it is, and I think he's playing that because he sees what's coming, and we go from there. But I think community notes, it's I could be a little annoying because I like stuff, but yeah, I mean it gives you an alert like, oh, this is what's really going on, and you could go back and look at it. So it's a start, and I think it's going into the right direction.
No, most definitely. When you brought it up, I'm like, yeah, that is a good way to kind of manage it for now. And you never know, maybe there'll be a better way in the future. But for now, it's a good step. And fellas, we got to step out of here, man. We'd like to thank you all for listening. Remember to follow us on Facebook and X at Freeform Network. Continue sending in those questions and suggestions. Andy loves reading them. ffnquestions@gmail.com. Visit that webpage, freeformnetwork.podbean.com. Podbean's what pays the bills. Actually, they don't. We have to pay them. But yeah, either way, man. Either way, go visit them. Hit that like and subscribe button. We really appreciate it on whatever you're using, iTunes, Stitcher, whatever you're playing this on. We really appreciate it and appreciate you listening in. But for Freeform Radio, we got Andy.
It's all good, Andy, and thank you guys for joining us, and we'll catch you next time.
And we have Noel.
Thank you for joining us, everybody. I'm going to be playing some more Devil May Cry 5, and I'll catch you up on the next episode.
For show, man. Going to watch some NFL, last couple games, playoff times. So going to heat up some wings and watch some football, man. But we'd like to thank you all for listening, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Dad.